Hello, welcome to the Business Lounge. My guest today is Iain Gillard of iGSG, and it's very good to see you. Thanks for spending time with us today. Tell me about the company very briefly before we go back to how it all started. What do you do?
We're basically a provider of logistic equipment, so forklift trucks, storage systems, training facilities, anything to do with the logistics sort of forum. But we have a fleet of forklift trucks, about 400 units, and we provide a turnkey product to distribution centres, factories and general sort of industry scope.
And is it something that you've always been in, that industry?
Yeah, my original background was more of the material handling, the fork truck side, and the reason I moved on and sort of set up on my own was to expand the field and to offer more sort of product range in that sort of sector. Yeah, generally that's sort of been my background, yeah.
Because you started working for the family business, is that right?
Yeah, when I was 17, started for the family business, had two independent directors, but started there, did my sort of ground training there.
Doing the same thing?
Similar sort of thing,
yeah.
Started a workshop, parts manager, etc., run one of the depots. And gradually over time, the company was very focused on what it did, and I generally thought that we could look at different areas. And I took the plunge to expand on my own and go out on my own, whether that was the right thing or wrong thing, but
so
I don't think I'd do it again.
You left the family fold. That must have been quite a brave decision to make.
Yeah, it was. I mean, half the business was owned by another director anyway, so it wasn't 100% the family. And I've been there many years, and to be fair, everything I've learned is due to the family business and my father. And I made a decision to say that's it. We'll give it a go. It was a difficult decision to take, very, very difficult, and obviously things didn't go to plan as I'd wanted to. Things happened a lot quicker than what we were expecting, and I was sort of left in the lurch to say, right, okay, this is what we've got to do, and go for it.
You started, I think, from a room in your house with 500 quid.
Yeah,
is that
that's
right?
it. Yeah, because of how it all worked out on my previous employment. There was supposed to be a sort of a handover period of about 3 months, so there was a set line I'd set myself to say this is what's going to happen, and this is when we will I'll start my own business, and that came to a very quick end, and I was left £500 in my back pocket and starting from home, and I went and spent I think £150 at IKEA on a desk in my spare bedroom.
Yeah, well, at least you had somewhere to sit at.
But yeah, that was it. For a year I worked from my spare bedroom at home. Yeah.
How easy was it for you to start up? In terms of building the business, starting the business.
I think having the knowledge of what I did was a great help, and obviously knowing what was maybe out there in the market. I didn't go as a direct competition to my previous employment, and I did start off in racking, which wasn't really what we did previously or what I did. And so it was a new scope. I taught myself CAD design, which gave me a head start against anybody else, and we managed to acquire a couple of projects locally in Driffield, not of great volume, but at that time on my own, massive profits wasn't required, and our overheads were very low. And to be fair, it provided me with a great lifestyle. Didn't need a lot of money, and I could go to the pub on a Friday afternoon, and to be fair, that was great.
Happy.
That was it. Yeah. So
was it? Were you not able then to diversify within the family business? I know I'm coming back to that, but was there an issue of, well, this is what we do. If you want to expand, well, you go and do it on your own, and that's fine.
I think the family business that I'd worked for was at one time an exceptionally large business with a turnover in excess of about 8 to 9 million. And over time, due to changes in the market, and it reduced considerably to a profitable level, a stable level, which is what any managing director looks for. And to change that and to ask for any changes, to be fair, the age the directors were, if I was in their position, I would probably be the same sort of thing to say, well, it's working, do we need to change it? Probably not. Be happy with what you've got, and get back to your job.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there was always the hunger to change, and I think there was always the idea that the industry wasn't performing as well as it should do, and I think there was an opportunity where our competition wasn't seeing maybe what I was seeing, and pooling a few components together and creating a product which people would stand up and say, yeah, great idea, this is what we've been looking for.
It must have been really daunting though, when you know, your first day in your bedroom with your £150 IKEA desk and 350 quid left in your pocket.
Yeah, it was...
did you have a bit of the, you know...
I went to the pub, actually. Actually, I did. I was in Beverley. It was end of April, beginning of March, and it happened to be a pretty sunny day. And... yeah, I actually went to the pub. I thought, this is it, I've made it, sort of thing. But reality, yeah, soon kicked in to say, what do I need to do? How do we do it? I'd actually made the plans to run the business several months beforehand, setting up the business account and things like that. So I was very fortunate that within 4 weeks of starting that, we'd had an order come in. Which created funds, how the deal was structured. We had capital coming in, so that helped. But yeah, exceptionally daunting, and had some very, very low days and very good days in the early part. But generally, yeah, it was. I think if I look back now and ever asked to do the same thing now, then I'd think it very differently. I think it was maybe half being stupid, but half obviously having a will and a desire to do it, which, you know, put me in the position that I was. Really.
How did the banks accept you, or did they accept you? It
was very strange. Somebody I knew at one of the banks, can I say the name?
If you wish.
HSBC, was very, very high up locally, and she said, yeah, come and see us, we'll sort your bank account out. And I was currently with Yorkshire Bank, went to see them, sat down with the business manager in Beverley, went through everything, and he said, right, okay, where's your business plan? So I said, well, I haven't really got one. He said, oh, well, I need a business plan. I said, well, I'm going to buy and sell. That's it. I really just want to give you £1, open up a bank account and be on my way. That's it, really. Well, I can't give you a loan on that. I can't give you a credit card. I said, well, I don't want a loan. I don't want a credit card. I literally just want to... And it was the adage of computer says no, unfortunately. And they couldn't give me one. For whatever reason, that was it. I went across the road, went into Yorkshire Bank, who I banked with. I said, can I open a business account? They said, yep, no problem. And everything went from there. But in terms of, I think when I started, which was 2006, when the market was starting to decline, or things were certainly turning, to start up a business and then want capital to do it, and certainly in a sector which the banks aren't familiar with, is very, very difficult. And to this day, we've done it with no funding at all from the bank, or no help.
Which
whatsoever.
during the last, from 2006 onwards, really, times have never really been massively buoyant.
No, not at all. And I remember I banked in Driffield, and the girl behind the counter said, well, I think you should meet your bank manager, who came from Scarborough. I said, yeah, that'd be great. Set up a meeting, sat in a room with him, and to be fair, at the time they were really being squeezed. They didn't have any products to offer. He didn't understand our business. He didn't want to, because there was nothing he could do anyway. And since then, I've sort of really realised not to rely on the banks and not to ask the banks for anything, and, you know, do it as best you can yourself.
What drives you forward?
I think to know that I've got a product which makes a difference to the end user, to our market, and know that I've got a product which really the competition don't know how to handle. There is really only us and another business in the UK that, if we were in a room together, would have any chance of winning an order. And I think it's about being able to present that final proposal to the customer, knowing you've done all the background work, you've come up with a solution to someone's problem, because that's basically what we do. We in effect tell somebody that you can get X amount of storage in using this type of equipment, etc. But I think ultimately, yeah, I mean, to know that I've created something which is a bit unique, and
that's massively fortunate, isn't it? I'm not using the word lucky, because a lot of it's skill, but it's fortunate for you that you've got a corner of the market that virtually no one else has.
Yeah, that's it. And it's only really through lack of people's imagination within the industry. I think anybody could do it. I haven't done anything different to what anybody else could do. I think it's just been, in our industry, everybody's quite of an age to change things, you know, why. And, yeah, all I've done is learn about the different parts of the product we have, bring them together, pull it into one go, present it, and that gives the customer something which they don't generally have a choice of. And, you know, we really are in a contention of 90% of winning an order. Should we be in that position? Because we're unique and nobody else can offer that.
You've got, I think last year you bought your old business back, is that right?
Yeah, that's right, yeah. October, November, we, during the forthcoming year of 2010, we'd made several approaches to the directors to acquire the business. What it meant was, as we'd grown, we'd become more of a national business. We hadn't had anything locally. We had a lot of products, a lot of customers down south. We were dealing with a lot of blue chip PLC businesses, which is great, but there's obviously the downside to that is, you know, you're getting paid. You know you're going to get paid, but when is a different thing. The company that I used to work for had cash flow, and cash flow is the keyest thing of any business. And without it, doesn't matter what you've got, what assets you've got, anything. Without the cash flow, it's all almost irrelevant. So there was two sides of it. One, we wanted the revenue that came with it, and two was that brought them a local customer base for us. We have some very nice offices in Hull, but nobody really knows what we do, and that it tied in together. And we during sort of August, September time, we were in deep discussions with the directors, and in November we acquired the business, its assets and its customer base.
That must have been very satisfying for you.
Yeah, it was exceptionally satisfying on two sides. One was that we had grown overnight to another chunk size of level of a business. And on obviously the two directors who had worked for so many years could then retire and move on and do whatever they want to do. But yeah, it really did put a landmark in sort of what's been going on, and yeah, it was good. It was very good.
But I mean, you say you grew overnight, and you're not kidding, are you? I mean, you started in 2006.
Yeah.
You've now got 400 trucks.
Yeah.
You sell shoes, you sell racking,
Yeah.
you do a lot more than that. You deal
Yeah.
with solving people's problems in 5 years.
Yeah, I know.
It's enough to make anybody's head spin.
I don't know.
The speed, isn't it?
It was quite funny when Jan asked me what I did. I said I don't know.
No, you don't get a chance to find out, do you?
I think there's a hunger for the business generally there, and the main core of what we do has always been there, and that's always what I've done since the age of 16, 17, so that's nothing changed. We've just tweaked that a little bit and applied different philosophies. The add-ons we've brought on, we have a company that builds cold storage systems, which again is just seeing parts of the market which I know people are paying way over the odds for their particular product, and knowing that we can provide it cheaper, more efficient, and I think a lot of it is just having the balls to do it and say, okay, do it. Obviously some things will work, some things won't. But yeah, we've grown considerably now, and literally overnight we'd gone from 2 staff on the 30th of October 2010 to about 16 the following day. And our office was no longer quiet, and I had to listen to the chores of women talk.
But have you still got the IKEA desk?
No, I haven't actually got the IKEA desk, no.
Wouldn't have lasted that long anyway, would it? I mean, you talked about the difficulty with the banks to start with, or one particular bank to start with. What other major hurdles have you had in building the business?
I think that the downfall I'd created when we set up was it was a very unique product, and it didn't come on every week. And these products, these projects take months to develop and months to complete. So cash flow was the key thing, really. And I remember one day literally having to count pennies on my bed to pay for the mortgage because there was nothing coming in. And even though you can see everything on the horizon, again, I come back to cash is everything. So yeah, hurdles in terms of that, and obviously being a young business and an unknown business, we're dealing with big companies trying to get in there. The first question is, who are they? Who are you? Where do you come from? What do you do? We had a massive break with a big company locally, which I'm a big believer in. Yes, you have luck, but you also create your own luck, which really put us on a plateau. We'd got asked several times by this business to look at a project down in Milton Keynes. It's by a whole company. I said no 3 times. I'd had enough of that industry, and that really put us where we are today. And they said, look, if you don't say yes, we're going to get somebody else in to provide the trucks. And I said, okay, we'll do it this one-off, and then that was
never look back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where would you like to see yourself in, I don't know, 5 years' time? I mean, you 5 years ago,
yeah,
you'd been sitting here with short fingernails and talking about your IKEA desk. Now,
yeah.
I mean, the difference between then and now, the same again?
I think I'm at a point that decision has to be made where we either now look at us as a group of businesses and we're happy where we are and we develop what we've got and make it as profitable and as lean as we can, or we grow on the back of what we've got again as another plateau. I'd like to see us as a national business, and I'd like to see us, I think, as a brand in our own sectors where everybody recognises it and recognises it as a good product, a good company to deal with.
When you say, you know, you'd like to be seen as a national company, one would assume, I guess, because of the blue chip PLCs that you deal with,
yeah,
you're already seen as that, are you?
The competition we have in that sector is very big, very, very global companies. We're extremely small in terms of that. We have a brand which I think surpasses anybody else's. We can compete with anybody else, but getting your name out there is the next step, and you can't go and knock on everybody's door, and you know, and it's how we then market ourselves now. And that's another big thing, you know. And the problem is now, as you grow, is there's always a cost associated with everything. When we were small, when it was just myself, the only cost was really me, my time, and the effort I put into it. Now you have so many forces against you as a business, and everything you seem to do seems to cost, whether that be growing your sales team, whether that be PR. So it's very difficult. It's almost like the faster you go in a car, the only force against you is really the wind. Mm-hmm. And it's how we do it, how we implement it. We've got a long way to go before we're actually recognised as a company to say, somebody in London would go, yes, we want to contact these people. And that's just now a case of us putting us in front of people's faces as much as we can, whether that be through the media or personally, you know, myself. So, yeah, I do want to get there. I want to get into as many different sort of sectors as I can. But I've always said I will not do anything that I'm not comfortable in doing and something that we can't back up.
Did you think when you started 5 years ago, did you want it to become the animal that it is now? Did you think it would become the animal?
No, I said to my accountant, I gave him a 3-year project, which was sort of 150,000, 250,000 and about 350, 400 turnover max, that'd be it, nice. And we went sort of 120,000, 1.1 million. And that was the problem. You trying to do everything you can on your own. So yeah, I think my intention when I left was to be comfortable in what I can do, create a lifestyle, and enjoy life. Really, that was it. And I think I've unfortunately snowballed myself into where I am now, but I'm enjoying it still as much. There is still the good days, still the bad days. Staff is obviously a massive thing now, which I never had before.
Is that the bad day?
Monday to Friday, yes. Yeah. No. And
well, what is a bad day, though? I mean, what's a bad day for you now?
I think a bad day will always come down to not winning a deal that you think you were going to win, that you were maybe banking on, or something you'd put a lot of work into. We'd just done a lot of work with a big supermarket, many hours, and somebody elsewhere in the country made a decision that these people were going to have the order, and in an instant, that's it, it's gone. Everything you've done for the last 3 months is finished. But yeah, I think a good day is always the start of a day, and knowing what you want to try and achieve out of that day, and what the week or the year ahead. A bad day is always, I say, not being able to fulfil that, losing orders, and not being where you probably want to be at the time. So staff is a massive key thing, and I think if you've got great staff, and they are hard to find, that adds to any benefit you can have in a working environment. You
say everything you learned from your dad.
Yeah.
What's his view on it?
I think I've always said if I knew 10% of what my dad new business-wise, then I'd be exceptionally happy. He did very well, and they started from nothing. They came up with a boom in the 80s, the growth of Comet in Hull, Do It All, etc. So they'd done very well, and they'd really climbed a steep curve quickly to accommodate their customer base. But yeah, I think they're both very proud. And likewise, I think I do look back some days and go, yeah, you've done all right, and there's still a long way to go.
Well, good luck with it, and thanks, Iain, very much.
No, great, thank you.
Iain Gillard.